I hope that all of you may have get some idea about from this very short documentary video. As you have seen in this video that what kind of society and what kind of philosophy Plato have had. Plato wanted to show the true face to us, and Plato was aware about the fact that whatsoever we see, whatsoever we feel, that is not the true, as we have discussed in the theory of forms. मतलब प्लेटो ने कितने अच्छे से बताया कि जो चीज हम फील करते हैं, महसूस करते हैं, वो एक तरह से सच्चाई नहीं है. वी आर फार अवे फ्रॉम द ट्रूथ. सो उसके लिए प्लेटो ने बहुत अच्छी थ्योरी ऑफ एलिगरी ऑफ केव्स के बारे में बताया. मींस प्लेटो हैज टॉक्ड अबाउट दैट हाउ the allegory of caves, when we see the image from the behind that on the wall, as we have discussed in the cave, that is not the truth. So with the help of education, the Plato has said that it is education through which we can not only grab the truth, but it is education which gives the happiness to the individual. If you can see overall, the core point of Plato's philosophy in the Republic, if you can find that he wanted to make happy life. He wanted to see that society can be happy, all the individual can be happy. So he was trying to answer the question that how all the individual on this earth or in the state can be happy. So that's why he has talked about that knowledge is very important. Without knowledge, we don't know what is the truth is there, and without knowing the truth, we can't able to take the correct decision. Like the Plato has talked about that we always try to admire the celebrity, but Plato has questioned that what the celebrity will give you, what kind of path, what kind of lesson will give you. The lesson you can learn only through the knowledge, rather than the celebrity, rather than those person. And it is the knowledge which can provide you the true thing. Means it can provide you the true information about any fact, any figure, any kind of content, rather than the false kind of thing. Rather than means, as he has talked about that what is love is all about. So he has discussed that love is not only about the relationship, but he has mentioned that love means that both the partners should teach each other. Means in society, all the person should try to grab the truth, should try to teach each other, so that we can know the what is truth is all about. And after grabbing the truth, uh, all of us means will be happy. There will be no problem in the state. So Plato has realized that in education is the very important tool for the state, and without education we can't able to think or imagine about the idea about the state. So for him, the education is very important. Without education, we can't able to construct or create the idea about the state. As we have discussed in the last lecture about the Plato's theory about the education. So in that education, just I would like to add some a few things, and then I will conclude the today's lecture on the Plato's theory on education. That according to Plato, as we have seen that Plato was looking towards a happy life. आखिर ये हैप्पी लाइफ आएगा कैसे, लोग खुश कैसे रहेंगे. एक समझ जाओ, क्लास में all of you are taking the class. In this classroom, if you know that the happiness is the money, and if you will earn the money, that will provide you the happiness. On the other hand, a person who is educated enough and who is aware about the fact that what is the requirement in our life, what do we require? Do we require money, or do we require peace, or do we require love? Do we require a kind of cooperation, coordination, rather than the fighting for the money? So Plato has said that we all of us are not aware about that what is where is our happiness lies, where is our happiness. So Plato has said that only after, on the basis of the education, the people can grab the where do we have the happiness is all about. Because हम लोग सभी खुश होने के लिए पैसा कमाते, हम सोचते हैं पैसा कमाएंगे तो हम खुश होंगे और पैसे से हम गाड़ी लेंगे, बंगला लेंगे, देन हम खुश होंगे. अगर आप चले जाओ रिलायंस के पास, मतलब कि चाहे धीरू भाई मतलब कि अंबानी जी के पास चले जाओ, किसी के पास चले जाओ, जो भी बिलियनर्स हैं, you will find it out they are not happy. They have several problems are there with them. So you will realize that they are billionaires, still they are not happy. So what way do we see the, or where can we see the happiness is, where can we find the happiness? So according to the Plato, the happiness can only be achieved on the basis of education, because you are aware about the fact on the basis of what activity, on the basis of what action you can you can achieve the result, or you can achieve the thing in a better way. In a simple example, I can say, if you want to go to your home, if you know the way, that what way, what transport you will take to reach to your home, then you will aware about the fact it will take half an hour, 45 minutes. But if you don't have the knowledge about how you can reach to your home, then you will be unhappy. You will be tense that how can I go there? What are those ways? What transport should I use? What communication should I use to reach to my home? That's a very simple example for the today Plato's education. सो प्लेटो का जो एजुकेशन था वो एक तरह से वहां पे जो दो तरह के एजुकेशन सिस्टम थे, एक एजुकेशन सिस्टम था एथेंस का, दूसरा था स्पार्टा का। इस एथेंस में क्या था कि वहां पे जो पूरा एजुकेशन, द एजुकेशन वाज टोटली बीन गिवन टू द पावर टू द इंडिविजुअल, that whatsoever the individual can give the education, they can give. There was no any kind of control on the education by the state. Means state was nowhere in the scene related to the education. Means the education was a kind of system where the individual can provide the information to the people, or and there was no role towards the state. There was no any such kind of censorship was there. So, according to the Plato, the Athenian system of the education system was based on the domestic education. There was no technical education was given during that period of the time. On the other hand, if you can see, the Sparta has said that state has controlled all the education system. There was equality was given to the gender basis. There was no discrimination, and under that Spartan system, it was under the control of the state. So what Plato has done after understanding the education system in the Athens and the Sparta, he has mixed both of them. What he has said, that education is very important for the exercise of soul. Without education, we can't able to live a happy life. So first and foremost, to if any individual want to live a happy life, the education is very important first. Second thing, he has said that to for the happy society, or to make a very happy society, or to a very coordination based or love based society, that can only be possible with the model of education. Also, he has said that society is education is important for the society. The third thing which he has said, that education is also important for the ideal state. As we have discussed in the last lecture, that according to the Plato, that it is the education through which we can divide the state into the three parts. Means we can allocate the functions of various people, what kind of function one person can do inside the state, मतलब कि एक राज्य में एक व्यक्ति कैसे कार्य करेगा. सो उस तरह से अगर हम देखें तो प्लेटो का जो एजुकेशन सिस्टम था, उसको अगर हम समअप करने की कोशिश करें, तो प्लेटो एक तरह से व्यक्ति, समाज और राज्य, means Plato was trying to build education for the individual, for the society, as well as for the state. So what he has said, that to achieve this thing, it is required for the state to control the education system. Because there may be chances that if any individual will have ownership or will have a command over the education, the person can corrupt the mind of individual. The person can utilize the education for the self-interest, or to not to provide the true information. The state should control the education system, and it is the responsibility of the state to provide the education to all the genders, and to all the citizens. Means education is compulsory for the all, and that can be only possible when state can take the command on the subject of education. That it is the education is the state owned domain, and the education will be taken by all the citizens. For example, if in India, if the government can announce that if any person want to open any account or any take any benefit, they should have to get the education, and all the schools are open. There is no charges, there is no fees is there. If you want to take the education, you will see that how if the state will take those kind of action. It is another matter that under the fundamental rights we have, it is education is important, education is necessary, and education is a fundamental right, but we know the truth. So here, what I'm talking to you is that according to the Plato, the state has to control the education, not only for the censorship, but also to provide the education to all the person. And the third, to remove the differentiation or to remove the inequality between the gender based. The next thing, what the Plato has said, after training, it is the state which will give the training to all the people, and after attaining those training, the people can do and join their job or do their work. As yesterday's lecture we have discussed, that Plato has said there are basically three stages of the education is there. Those person who will complete the first stage and can't able to go ahead, they don't have those kind of skill or those interest for the study, they can become as a kind of merchants. Those person who will attain the education till the age of 6, those person who have got the knowledge about the language, picture and basic gymnastic, those person can do the activities, economic activities of the state. After that, what Plato has said, those person who will get the education till the age of 7 to the 20, they have received the training of the military training, how to do the fight, or what are those war activities are there, how to make the peace, how to protect the boundaries of a state. So those training has been given under the secondary education. Those person who will complete this secondary education and can't able to go ahead, or they have not cleared the examination of higher education, or they are not interested, so those person can become as a soldiers. They can work as a kind of soldiers or the army for the state. At the third stage, what the Plato has said, that those person who have the interest towards the study and their mind is very good, and they are also aware about the very good in the music and the gymnast, they can go for further study to enrich their mind and to exercise their brain. So the third stage is basically not the physical exercise, that was a basically kind of mental exercise. In this third stage, the Plato has given the education system where the person used to taught that how to use the logic, how to use the math, to aware about the scientific fact or the whatsoever the surrounding things happen or happening on. सो जो भी आसपास की चीजें हो रही, जो भी घटनाएं हो रही, लॉजिक लगाना, उन सबको प्लेटो ने हायर एजुकेशन में रखा था. सो द पर्सन हु विल कंप्लीट द हायर एजुकेशन, दे कैन बिकम एज अ philosopher king, they can make the laws, they can make the what you call legislature, they can be executive. So he was talking about in that manner. सो प्लेटो का अगर आप पूरा कोर देखोगे कि प्लेटो का जो एजुकेशन सिस्टम है वो कहता है कि एक अच्छे व्यक्ति को निर्माण से लेके अच्छे समाज को निर्माण से लेके अच्छे राज्य के निर्माण में एजुकेशन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. शिक्षा के बिना हम अच्छे व्यक्ति, अच्छे समाज, अच्छे राज्य की नींव नहीं रख सकते. अब यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन क्या आता है? The question here is that Plato has said what kind of education we are giving to the individual. So Plato was trying to say that we need to give the education which is based on the ethics. We need to give the education which is based on the morality principle. I will teach you the Plato's theory of communism, then you will get to know that under the Plato's theory of ideal state, there was no role or there was no place to the private property. Plato has said that no individual, either the philosopher king or the decision making body or the person who will take the decision, those person will not have any kind of private property, even though they don't have any kind of family will be there. So for them, the state is their family. For them, the society is their part. And all the children they can see, those children can be their children. So Plato was trying to create a society where we can based on the model of community, we are based on the model of love, we are based on the model of coordination, sacrifice, rather than the self-interest. So Plato wanted to cut the kind of corrupt mind, corrupt practices in the human mind. And he has said that can only be possible when we can provide the ट्रू नॉलेज। समझ जाओ, अगर मान लो आप लोग क्लास में ये चीज समझ में आ जाए कि पैसा ही सब कुछ नहीं है जिंदगी में, पैसे के सिवा बहुत सारी चीजें होती, मतलब कि पैसे सब खुशी नहीं खरीद सकते। आपको दूसरों को जो हैप्पी करते, जो मान लो इफ यू आर ट्रेवलिंग इन द मेट्रो एंड यू आर गिविंग द सीट टू द ओल्ड पर्सन और द नीडी पर्सन, यू विल फील हैप्पीनेस। So what is that? That happiness cannot be purchased from the money. So same thing like that, Plato was trying to say that how the real happiness can be achieved. The real happiness can only be achieved when we are happy through our soul. जब हम आत्मा से खुश हो, जब दिमागी रूप से खुश हो। शारीरिक खुशी खुशी नहीं होती, दिमाग से जो खुशी होती है, the mental happiness is the real happiness. So Plato was trying to take a kind of mental happiness. Or in this exercise, Plato has said that the role of the teacher is very important. भले कि एक अच्छे शिक्षक के बिना अच्छा स्टूडेंट नहीं हो सकता। अब यहाँ पे जरूरी है कि शिक्षक भी वैसा हो जिसको पूरा नॉलेज हो, जो प्रोफेशनल हो। द पर्सन शुड बी अवेयर अबाउट ऑल द ट्रूथ, द पर्सन शुड बी ट्रेन्ड। So that's why Plato has said that teacher is a very important. Teacher is a kind of torch bearer for all the individuals in the state, and the person can provide you the true, and the person can give you the knowledge, and it will be the way for the happiness for all the individual. So he was talking about the role of the teacher in the state is very important, because without teacher we can't able to imagine about the education system. So what are those important things are there? If you can analyze the Plato's theory of education, we can say that Plato was trying to provide the three important facts. First, how the real happiness can be achieved. Yes, it is quite true that without education we can't able to achieve the true happiness, because we are not aware about the fact what is good for us, what is bad for us. To define or to identify good versus bad, we require knowledge. Second thing, Plato was trying to create ideal state, and in the ideal state he was trying to establish the happiness. And it is quite correct that without education we can't able to allocate the work to the individual, any individual. Third, on the basis of Plato's education system, yes, it is quite correct that I am also teaching you after attaining the education, whatsoever the education we have done, and all the person in the society, they are doing the work on the basis of the education. So it is the education which bifurcate the people's activity of work. Yes, for the ideal state that is required. So overall, we can see that Plato's theory of education is very important, but there are some loopholes, some problems are there. The first problem we can identify, which has been mentioned by the CL Vapor, that Plato has not talked about how we can make a good teacher. Who will teach the teacher, and how the academy will be there. How we can identify this is truth and this is bad. So that kind of thing has not been discussed in the Plato's Republic in a detailed manner. The second thing, Plato's theory of education, we can say that Plato has not mentioned that on what basis after the age of 6 or after the age of 20 that person can means the not take the education or cannot go ahead. Or for example, there may be many point of time we can see that person may not be interested in taking the education after the age of 6, but after 2 or 3 years the person is having interest to go for higher studies, but there is no way. Third very important critique is that all individual in this world are always driven by the motivation. मतलब कि हर व्यक्ति जो कोई कार्य करता है वो मोटिवेशन से ड्रिवन होता है. प्लेटो ने एजुकेशन सिस्टम में ये मोटिवेशन की बात कहीं नहीं दिखाई है कि व्हाई ऑल द इंडिविजुअल शुड ग्रैब द एजुकेशन, because for example all of you are attending the class. The basic reason and agenda behind the attending the class is you want to live a happy life, and you know that after completing graduation you will appear in the various competitive exams and you will do the further higher studies and you will make your life happy. So Plato has nowhere talked about in that thing. Apart from that, we can say that Plato has tried to identify the full structure and very good methods and the things has been discussed in the Plato's theory of education. If there is any questions or questions are there, so you can raise your yes Nupur, go ahead.
Uh, Sir, actually, Plato said he claimed in the previous text that real happiness could be achieved through mental so sorry real happiness can be achieved through our soul, and that will be only possible once a person is knowledgeable and insightful. So sir, how can we just simply criticize that he never claimed about the reason behind education? He on his point cleared it.
Very good question, Nupur. Okay, you can imagine that you are 6 year old kid. How you will identify that after attaining the education you will overcome from all forms of the problem, or you will enlighten yourself and you will grab the knowledge. You require some certain kind of motivation, to which things should motivate you to do the work, because at the age of 6 you are going to be for nowadays what is happening, just it is very good example in the COVID era. My kid is just he is going to start the school 3 years old. Now he is going to start the tab is there, and he will take the class on tab. What thing is going to motivate him? So I was talking about that motivation. For example, if any person want to go for the what do you call the as a kind of good soldier, what thing will motivate him? Motivation factor was missing, means somewhere Plato has not made a kind of full structure kind of what kind of structure of education system will be there, मीन्स कैसा स्ट्रक्चर होगा एजुकेशन सिस्टम का, वो प्लेटो ने कहीं मेंशन नहीं किया. प्लेटो ने मोटा मोटी ही हैज मेंशन that the education system will be divided into the three stages, and these are the three stages are there.
Sir, so basically he wanted to claim the thing that he just gave an example that happiness could be possible through knowledge, but he didn't actually mention the basic urge behind getting educated. So that was the main critique of this.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes, go ahead. Who has raised the hand?
So I just wanted
Yes.
to clarify
Yes.
that by motivation we mean incentives, right?
No, motivation means, for example, not incentives. Motivation means, if not in our terms that we always give the chocolate. Okay, my son, if you'll read and if you'll complete this work, I will give you the chocolate. I'm talking about the motivation based on the internal rather than the monetary, rather than those things based on the practices. Means internal motivation that, for example, many point of time, you try to become as a good human being. You try to do the work for the others. Many, for example, you travel in the metro and you offer the seat to the others. What thing motivates you? So that motivating factor I am talking about, not the monetary or not those kind of physical kind of thing which motivates us. I'm talking about internal motivation kind of thing. सो और किसी स्टूडेंट को कोई डाउट है, कोई क्वेरी है, कोई क्वेश्चंस है तो आप पूछ सकते हो. क्या बात है, पढ़ाई नहीं कर रहे हो?
Sir,
आई लव, वेरी गुड.
sir, can you once again explain the criticism of Plato's theory? Critics, criticism of Plato's theory.
कोई बता सकता है प्लेटो का क्रिटिसिज्म क्लास में जो मैंने अभी बताया? एनीवन कैन रिपीट द क्रिटिसिज्म ऑफ प्लेटोस थ्योरी ऑन एजुकेशन? Yes, yes, yes. I'm looking towards you. Yes, I have expectations from the Naman. Naman, go ahead.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Go
So,
ahead with the critique.
so, so the first critique is, sir, कि CL Weber has talked about कि how we can make the good teacher, because he Plato have talked that कि we should have good teachers for the, because it is very important for everyone's knowledge. I mean, for individuals' knowledge. So first thing is कि how we are going to make good teacher. The first critique. The second one
Training
is
to the
कि
teachers, a kind of
yes,
training
sir,
to the teachers.
training to the teachers is very, yes, sir. Second is, sir, कि how we are going to differentiate between good and bad, because he talked about that knowledge is a source from where we can obtain and grab the actual truth. But how we are going to how can we are going to differentiate between good and bad? That's the most important point. And third thing is motivation. Just you have talked about ki it is an internal motivation which drives you to do some work. And all the persons, I mean, those who are doing the work, I mean, they are doing on the basis of motivation. But Plato has not talked about motivation anywhere. So I think this is the critique.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Naman. Just I would like to add some point and to correct something in the Naman's point. First critique of the Plato critique means the negative point of the Plato's theory is of education is first there is no criteria for the teachers training or the teachers education. How the teachers who is going to teach to the in the academy or in the education institutes, they have not he has not talked about what kind of how the teachers will be trained. So there is no nothing has been written in that regard. The second thing which Naman has said about the good and bad, the basic point I was trying to say in the second point, the critique according to the Plato's theory of education is that Plato has nowhere talked about that how what means the state censorship kind of thing. Means he has said that state censorship will be there, and he has not talked about that like the Bruno. I would like to take you the example of Bruno. All of you must be aware about the fact that Bruno has mentioned in front of the king that it is the earth which revolves around the sun. So what the king has said that the Bruno is saying lie or it is lying to us. So kindly give him capital punishment because he's not telling the truth. So the Plato has nowhere identified that how we can identify any fact is the true or the false. So there is no any mechanism that is further very high kind of thing is there. So we can't able to think that Plato will talk about that thing. But just for the critique, I have mentioned this point. The third thing, which we can see in the Plato's, is the curriculum kind of thing. That Plato has not made a kind of curriculum. What means he has given just as a three stage of the education, but he has not given the curriculum. What kind of syllabus, what kind of things will be there, what kind of training will be there, or how you can train the brain, or how. But just he has talked about that we can provide the kind of reasoning can be there, or reasoning can be there, or the gymnastic kind of exercise will be there, the music can be there, but he has not talked about like do we have a kind of syllabus kind of thing is the structure. Like if you can go for the BTech or those kind of technical education, you will have a kind of full structure is there, which year what you will learn. So Plato has not talked about in that manner that what kind of structure will be there. And the last, we can say that Plato has nowhere mentioned that why, how we can motivate any individual, because without motivation, those motivation, we can't able to run the education system. Because from the childhood days, you can imagine we always say the child, no, you have to become as the first topper in the class because you want to be a doctor, you want to be engineer, or you want to be XYZ. But we never say that that you are just taking the education for being a good human being, just for being a good person. So what we do, we always try to give the kind of motivation. So I'm here, I'm talking about not the monetary or not the physical kind of motivation. I'm talking about the mental or the emotional motivation given by the given to the person, that why the person will go for the army, why the person will become as a philosopher king. So that thing is missing in the Plato's theory on education. So if any student have any further query or doubt, so you can ask me. Okay, so we can meet you. I will meet you tomorrow, and tomorrow I will discuss you the Plato's theory of philosopher king. Okay, take care. Have a nice day. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.